Welcome back everyone to more of our custom career mode and VR gameplay. And today is a huge day for us because first and foremost, we need to finish off our very first truck season. Now granted, it was an abbreviated season where we were only running the bigger tracks, but our very first season is in the books and we have earned enough money to go full-time truck racing. So that would be the next thing we need to do is get started in what will be on the spreadsheet 2022. So let's go ahead and fill in our numbers for Michigan. Of course, we started in the rear, so 25th there. Now, incident count, there were no incidents, not only for us, but for any of the AI as well. And then our finishing position, something that really shocked me. I did not expect to get our very first top 5 at Michigan. By the way our practice times looked, I thought we might have some trouble keeping up. And even if we were able to keep up, I figured we might finish somewhere around 17th to 20th. That was sort of my estimate that I had in my head. And obviously we were much better than that. Now we did have some pitting issues for the AI. A few of them decided to pit way off cycle, and that jumbled things up at the very end. But I'm trying my hardest to just sort of let that stuff go and understand that the AI sometimes are going to do some crazy things. And I could spend all day trying to adjust the ratings to stop that from happening. But as long as it doesn't become too huge of an issue, say, for example, we're running 10th and then all of a sudden the top 9 cars pit at the very end, giving us the victory. As long as it's not crazy stuff like that, I'm just going to try to go with the flow as best I can. But I will freely admit, and you're going to hear this, you've already heard it in the series and you're going to hear it more going forward. It's not in my blood to just let these things go. So I'm fighting back the urge to do tons of testing with the AI, and I'm just going to try to go with it as best we can. So our very first top 5 finish, fittingly, it was in our last truck race of the season. So now we have a lot of good momentum moving into what will be 2022 on the spreadsheet. So we've got a lot to do. Let's get started with moving into next season. We'll be back to finish up this season in a few moments, but first I want to do a couple of things. Now, with these spreadsheets, as I talk about a lot, you have so many options on what you want to do and how you want to handle things. So what you're about to see me do, you can definitely do it in different orders and take a different approach entirely. There are so many options with this spreadsheet, but what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and sell off our truck because we're going to purchase a brand new truck. And there are reasons I'm doing this that we're not going to go into right now, but essentially I'm trying to make it a little bit harder on us and where we have to spend a little bit more money. So let's go ahead and sell this vehicle. You can see the resale value. We're actually going to change that. So $199, I'm going to go and change that to, let's see, what do we want to do with this? About half? Let's go with half. There, that's not too big of a number. In fact, I might even come back and lower that sum in the future if we need to, but I'm just going to change that down to about half price. So we originally paid $252,000 for this particular chassis to run the bigger tracks. We sell it 8 races later for $100 grand. I'll go with that. So now let's hop over to the classifieds and see what that does. That gives us a lot of money. But before we actually purchase, we need to come back over to 2021 and we need to end this season. And that brings me to something else I wanted to point out. Again, so many options on how to use this spreadsheet. The end of season, this is where you would put your finishing position in the points right here. Well, I'm skipping that part because not only did we not really run enough races for this, but it also gives us extra money. And I'm trying to make this as difficult as I can within reason for this series. So that's why I'm going to skip this, and I'm probably going to skip this each season until we get up into Cup and Contend, just to make us earn that much more money and run more races. So again, not something you have to do, not even something I'm recommending you do, but it's something I've decided to do for now. So let's go ahead and finish this season. So this is going to do a few different things for us. Number one, it's going to blank out the sponsor. And that is the most important thing really for me. It's going to reset the sponsor. Now you can see in the spreadsheet, we're in 2022. So we're going to need to fill in some numbers here. But before we can do that, well, we need to purchase something to drive. So we're going to purchase the truck, full-time racing. And for us, we're using that as age 0 on the truck, $630,000. Let's go ahead and make that purchase. So we click that. And under My Race Shop, here we are. Resale value, about what, 80,000, 75, 80,000 less. But we're not worried about that for now. We got a long way to go with this equipment. So let's now hop back over to 2022. Age of the vehicle is now 0 in years. And the championship, we're going to scroll down until we find the trucks. All right, but you see that, well, that doesn't look right. That's not a full season. Well, that's because I need to do a little bit of work, some copy paste to change this season around, and then we'll see what it looks like. Now that we have our new schedule, let's take a brief look and see which tracks are included. Now, obviously, I had to deviate quite a bit from the real life schedule and simply use the content that I have available to me in iRacing, because I'm not at a point where I want to make a whole bunch of purchases of tracks for the game. So here's what we have. We start off, of course, at Daytona. And again, for those of you who might not be familiar or have joined us earlier when we discussed this $sign at the very end indicates a crown jewel event. So there are asterisks and crown jewel events. We are choosing to focus on the crown jewels only rather than a bunch of special events. And right now we have 2 of those in the schedule. There will be Daytona, and then we get to Charlotte, of course, for what would be the 600 in the Cup cars, but we're going to run that as a special event here in the trucks as well. Those are the only 2 on the schedule right now. I might make a few changes to that as we go along, but this is our working schedule. So we go from Daytona to Vegas, Atlanta, and then Martinsville. Can't wait for Martinsville in these things. Bristol, Dover, and then Chicago before we head back to Charlotte. Then we go to Gateway or Worldwide Technology. Indy, we'll see about Indy. I'm still on the fence as to whether we're going to keep that in there, especially based off of all the chaos with pitting. And really, it was just pure chaos. That's the best way I can describe it. So we'll see if that ends up remaining on the schedule. But for now, we're going to leave it in there. Then we go short track racing at Iowa, Richmond, and then the fairgrounds. There's no way I can do a schedule for any of these series without having the fairgrounds in there. And then it's Michigan, New Hampshire, and Talladega. Now keep in mind, Talladega and Daytona in VR, I cannot wait to see what it's like. Are we going to get 2 wide, 3 wide? Are we going to wreck? I mean, there is so much going through my head about these tracks and some of these tracks that we haven't been to before, and especially the super speedways. So after Talladega, we go to USA International, and then we end things up at Homestead, going back to the old season finale. So that is our working schedule as of now. But again, we might be making some changes as time goes on. So our goal for this season, other than obviously to get the best finishes and hopefully maybe even get a few victories here and there, but our overall goal is we want to earn enough money to get into the Xfinity Series. So that's actually what we're going to do now. The Xfinity Series, we're going to choose the Camaro since that's the one I own, and that's number 64. So I'm going to drop 64 in there. That loads up everything. The age of the car that we want is 0. However, if we want to do something similar to what we did in the trucks, we could simply put 10 in there. That's not going to require us to make very much money at all. So what I'm shooting for is this. But keep in mind, there is another option. If we're able to make enough money, if we do well enough in this full-time truck season over the 17 to 18 races that we have planned, we might be able to skip Xfinity altogether. I'm not saying we will, but I'm saying it's at least a possibility depending on how well we do. So the way we're going to look at that is I'm going to drop number 57 in there. Again, the Chevy. So let's look at that. That's $4.75 million. Now, I'm under no illusion that we're going to make that and go full-time Cup racing, but what about that? What if we just focused on the big tracks for $1.9 million? That would give us an opportunity to go cup racing, and we could skip Xfinity altogether. So we got some decisions to make, but the first thing we got to do is earn enough money that we can actually be in a position to make those choices. So let's hop back over to 2022. Let's get things set up. So race number 1, you can see costs go up here, but sponsorship money also goes up along with it. That is what we are hoping. So again, I'm going to leave this number of races alone simply because I have put the cost in based on that, and even though we're running a shorter schedule, I still want my cost to come out right there at that number for the purposes of the spreadsheet. But we're going to do something, a couple of things actually, different this season. So in 2022, by virtue of the spreadsheet, we're no longer going to start in the rear. We're going to start in 15th position. Now, again, we've done this before in the career mode, so we're going to start 15th instead of last. We're also going to bring down the AI skill spread. Now, once again, don't pay a whole lot of attention to this one because we're going to be using a good bit higher than that. Instead of 110 or 115 to 125, we're going to bring that down some to hopefully give us an opportunity to get some better finishes. Instead of fighting for a top 10, maybe we're fighting for top 5s. Maybe we're fighting for podiums, and hopefully, in at least a few of these races, I'm hoping to be able to fight for some victories. So there's a lot on the line here, a lot of opportunities, I believe, to earn quite a bit of money. But we're starting off the season at Daytona with no sponsorship. There is a lot on the line here because how we do at Daytona is going to determine what type of sponsorship offers we get. All right, everyone, welcome to Daytona International Speedway, and this is amazing.
Follow car number
in VR.
24 in the outside column.
As always, the spotter, the crew chief, everybody's going to have a lot to tell us as we get ready to take the green. So we're going to try to ignore a lot of what they're telling us. 40 laps here today against the AI.
To car number 24.
Line up on the inside. Pit road is closed. Catch stop 24. Stop.
Skill spread 85 to 115. I tried to spread things out a little bit more to try to keep it from getting 2 and 3 wide and nobody ever moving and swapping positions. So we'll see how that goes. I might have needed to spread it out a little bit more, but we'll find out. Starting 15th today, 85 to 115 is the skill spread, and this is my very first time in VR here at Daytona. I did the little practicing that I did outside of VR for a few different reasons, but yeah, this is, well, so far it's everything I had hoped it would be. Now the real question is my PC going to be able to handle this? Daytona is a huge place, and there's a lot going on, a lot of buildings, a lot of stands, a lot of everything going on. So we're going to have to see if my 6 to 7 year old computer can handle this thing. The GPU, the graphics card, the GTX 1070, I'm not worried about. It's the CPU that I'm worried about. Now we do also have our caution clock, and I'm really, really hoping that that keeps everybody pitting together. It's set on 20 minutes. That should get started as soon as we take the green flag. So we're going to try to get to the front if we can, but we don't want to take any unnecessary risks, especially early on in the race. Oh, we're already going.
Green,
Let's go, let's go.
So literally, as soon as the pace truck pulled off,
Got one outside.
we're up and running.
Stay on the bottom. Keep low.
All right, so we're just going to hug that yellow line, hopefully. Now the setup I'm using is identical to the iRacing default setup for Daytona. I forget the exact name of it, but it's something like Daytona 2011 race or something like that. But yeah, I didn't make any changes to it whatsoever. You can see the outside lane is definitely going somewhere right
Got one
now.
outside. Go there. Stay low.
Let's see how this thing handles now that we're sort of up to speed.
Slow. 3 wide. You're on the bottom.
All right, we're 3 wide already.
Hold your line. Outside.
All
Go
right, you
there.
guys that have been with the channel for a while, you know the bottom is not really where I want to be. I'm the guy who's looking to get out there 3 wide. I'll take you through the middle, but hugging this bottom for 40 laps just is not my idea of fun. And we're here first and foremost to have some fun. Yeah, these things are not exactly as stable as I would prefer them to be, but that's all part of it.
Stay on the bottom.
So this is my first time experiencing 3 wide, albeit on the bottom right now. We've got all of the trucks right here around us. We're coming onto the front stretch. I mean, this is as taxing as it can get, I think, for my computer in VR. You can see I'm playing around with that apron a bit too much, but I'm trying to give these guys room because, well, frankly, I don't want to wreck. And right now we're just sort of here. There's nowhere I can go. Even if I said, look, I want to get on top, there's nowhere I can go. I mean, these guys are stacked in here.
Smith is now leading.
And it looks like we're just headed straight to the back. It's almost like in NR 2003, what you used to get with the outside lane, outside of anything like a BR track. That is. But by default there, you would just, if you were on the outside, you would just work your way to the back most of the time. And that seems like what we're doing here, except on the inside. So hopefully the caution clock is working now.
Keep to the bottom.
We're going to keep with that caution clock as long as it's doing its job, which is to keep us all pitting together so that we don't get any really weird and odd pit scenarios like we got at Indy, which were things that just didn't make any sense. I'm fine with different pit strategies, but they just need to make some sort of sense from the AI.
Keep to the bottom.
And at Indy, they did not.
Keep low. Keep low.
There's that apron again. I'm very fond of that apron. One of these days, maybe I'll learn my lesson, but I haven't yet. My brain is telling me to give these guys on the outside room so that we don't wreck. And if I come up like this to try to push them up a little bit.
Stay on the bottom.
Yeah, let's just... Alright, stay on the bottom, he tells me.
Good stop.
And of course, we're just moving our way straight to the back. Unfortunately.
Got one outside. Keep to the bottom.
And I see the guys on the top of 3 wide up there. It doesn't look like there's very many up there. Only a couple, maybe 3 trucks that I saw up there.
Keep to the bottom.
So not a lot going on there. Yep, there's that apron.
Stay on the bottom.
Again, everything in VR just feels different. So trying to get an idea of how wide your truck is, in this case, is hard to do, particularly with the Oculus, because it is not known for having the largest field of view. Alright, I was going to say, we've got to be working our way to the very back. And it says we're somewhere around 20th, 21st, I believe. Depending on when you look.
Keep low.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Outside line breaking up a little bit there, as I noticed some guys trying to take it 3 wide. That broke the momentum.
Hold your line. Outside. Still there.
Of course, one thing that would really help in situations like this at Daytona or Talladega is bump drafting. The AI will not bump draft, so essentially they just get locked in a lot of times and nobody goes anywhere.
Stay low.
Alright, there we go. Here comes the back of the field. Now that we have managed to expertly work our way to the back. We started 15th, only to immediately go to the back.
Stay low. Keep low.
Which really gets me to thinking. What do we need to do? Where do we need to be if we're fortunate enough to survive this race and be around at the end? Where do we want to be? Do we want to be on the top? Do we want to be in the middle? Because it's looking like the bottom might not be where it is for us.
Stay low.
As far as speed, I'm in general not running full speed here, not full throttle. I'm at about 3/4 throttle, sometimes even less. Like right now, whenever things start checking up. I'm even less than that, but probably somewhere around 3/4 throttle.
Stay low.
Every once in a while I'll go full throttle if they start to pull away just a little bit. But right now, what I would really like is to try to get up top a little bit and try to see what's going on there. At least get in this second groove up there.
That was at 47.7. All right, Brian. Lap times are pretty consistent.
Yeah, lap times ought to be pretty consistent. I mean, after all, we're all running the same speed. Nobody's really going anywhere.
On the bottom,
At least not on the bottom anyway.
hold your line. Got one outside, still there. Stay on the bottom. Still there. 3 wide, you're on the
You
bottom.
could definitely feel the truck moving around a lot more in VR.
Got one outside.
I knew it
still
would
there.
move
3
around
wide,
because,
you're on the
well,
bottom.
part of that's just setup.
Outside, still there. Stay low.
The front end does not feel entirely stable. Part of that is the wheel.
You're outside. Got one
16th
outside.
place.
There's a bit of a dead zone right
Still
in the
there.
center. And so the truck wants to wander a
Stay on
little
the
bit
bottom.
when you get right around the center line of the wheel.
Stay on the bottom.
But you
You're
really
outside.
feel that in VR.
Outside.
But right now, once again, there's nowhere for us to go. We're 10 races in, or 10 laps into this race, and there's just nowhere for us to go. I want to get out of this bottom groove, but there's nowhere to go right
Hold your
now.
line. Outside. Still there. 3 wide, you're on the bottom.
Now you notice, we're no longer at the back.
Hold your line.
Things have changed quite a bit
Got
up
one
here.
outside. Still
As we
there.
get
Place.
As we get more
Stay on
and
the
more
bottom. You're on the
3
bottom.
wide, it seems like this bottom is not as bad. Now, it's still not moving us forward.
Hold your line.
Any bit we're moving forward right now is almost just because the other guys are moving
Keep
back
slow.
in the other lines.
Keep to the bottom.
But coming off the corner is definitely not our strong suit. The bottom is not going to be where you want.
Clear outside. Outside. Keep to
We
the
were
bottom.
working our way forward a little bit as the top couple of grooves were working their way back. Now it seems like that's stabilized a little
Stay
bit.
on the bottom. Keep to the bottom.
P16.
My computer seems to be hanging in there. Again, it's the CPU that we're really dealing with here, an i5 from several years ago.
Hold your line.
Just as I say that, we have a little bit of fluttering on the screen. That's just what you need when you're 3 wide. So you can see I'm trying to give the AI a little room. I'm not trying to get up there and bump draft and be very aggressive. I'm trying to lay off because there's nowhere for us to go. No sense in me trying to beat and bang with his bumper right now. We're not going to go anywhere. Wow. Okay, don't know what happened at the front there, but they really had to get back out of the gas. The accordion effect was real. Not only was I out of the gas, but I was on the brake a little bit there. Not a lot, but I did need to use the brake some. There again, I had to use the brake. All right, can I get out there? Is there somebody there?
Kraus is now in the lead.
Got one outside. Still
Yeah,
there.
that's where I needed a little bit more information from the spotter.
Keep slow.
Can't really see anything
Outside. Keep to the bottom.
as far as to
Clear
my outside. So I don't know if there's anybody there.
Outside. Keep slow.
P19.
Because I was really thinking hard
Stay low.
about getting out of this bottom line.
Stop.
All right, you saw the 10-minute warning, hopefully, pass on the top of the screen there, so that means we're halfway. Let's get out of there.
Inside.
And if nothing else, let's just go have a little fun, maybe in the middle groove or the top groove. Let's see how it works out. See how the truck handles up here. See how that accordion effect works up here. Oh, they're just taunting me with that top groove up there. They're taunting me with it.
Keep high. wide, you're on top.
All right, you know I can't resist it. We got to
Hold your
try.
line.
For better or for worse, we got to try.
Hold your
07
line.
is leading the race, P15. The lap time was at 47.7.
Hold your line.
Ooh, easy guys up here. They don't need to be on the gas.
Hold your line.
All right, so now that I've caught them, let's see what we got up here. Same thing here. I'm in no rush to get right on their bumper and start pushing and shoving. There's no reason for that. So now I'm out. Yeah, this setup does not like it when you're off the gas. Because then it starts to become just a little bit unstable. As you can see from this thing, the tail's wagging the dog for sure.
Hold your line.
Oddly enough, and I wasn't expecting this, I am running maybe a little bit less throttle overall
Hold your line.
up here in the top than I was on the bottom. Like right now I'm full throttle as we caught a little bit of momentum here and we're moving forward.
Hold your line.
But previous to that, I was actually running about half throttle.
Krauss is now leading.
Hold your line.
Boy, this is tense. And just think, we're only trying to do 40 laps
Hold
here.
your line.
And you get all shoved in here 3 by 3. This is why things have an ebb and a flow in real life to them. I mean, yeah, they get 3 wide and all get bunched up, but they don't stay there.
Hold your line.
All right, trying to get some momentum here, moving forward. You can see we're passing a truck or two every now and then. Then they come back.
Hold your line. Hold your line.
So right now, I'm looking at that one truck there. Haley Deegan's truck. Are we passing her or is she pulling away from us? And right now, we have been catching her
P14.
for the past few laps. And now we are alongside and trying to push ahead. Oh, nope, so much for that. Seems like something happens up there in our lane at the front every time we get a little bit of momentum. Not sure if they're getting loose on corner exit or what's happening. Then we get it right back together like right now.
Hold your line.
And we're back in business. But it's definitely not just sitting here still running the same lap after lap. There's a lot to keep up with.
Hold your line.
We're definitely getting runs and losing them at the same pace. Every few laps, somebody will slip up.
Hold your line.
We saw that when we were on the bottom. We're seeing it on the top. Oh, boy.
Hold your line.
That 51 truck was all over the place in front of us. And I know that feeling because that's the way I feel like this truck is most every lap.
Hold your line.
Oh, there we go. Now we got a big run. Big run for us. I'm going to go ahead and back out of it because I see this going badly.
Hold your line.
Now, there's our 5-minute warning for the caution clock. And this is exactly the type of place where
Hold your line.
AI coming in under green flag conditions to pit could be a complete disaster. You're running 2 and 3 wide.
Stay right there.
There's just nothing good going to happen if somebody on the top or in the middle decides it's time
Hold
to
your
pit.
line. You got one inside. Still there. 3 wide. You're on top. Hold your line. You got one inside. Still there. You're on top. 3 wide. Hold your line.
All right, are we starting to get spread out here a little bit?
Hold your line.
Or is it just the top lane is losing it?
Keep it on top.
No, we're not getting spread out. Look out, guys. I'm backing out of that. I am backing out of that. I can see the 22. He was trying. He was trying really hard to wreck. So we find ourselves to the back. There must have been a wreck.
P24. Okay, Brian.
Okay,
We're
no, I
halfway
guess
home.
not.
Should be about 15 laps of fuel remaining.
Okay, so the top didn't work, the bottom didn't work.
Clear.
The middle is probably not going to work either. I think these guys up front are just swapping the lead back and forth.
Stay low.
Because you can see there's the one truck just ahead of us in the middle lane. So we've come to the back, she's come to the back. So that tells me that the middle groove really didn't go anywhere either.
Keep low.
So something happened there and we ended up at the back.
Stop.
So are we going to be able to move forward? Or when this thing comes to the end, again, if we're fortunate enough to still be
22nd
around,
place.
are we just going to have to jump in one of these and start pushing and shoving and hope that we come out,
Outside.
you know, at least a few positions ahead of where we were?
Keep low.
At this point, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Because there's nowhere for me to go right now. I've tried the bottom, I've tried the top. We make up a few spots.
Outside.
You know, every once in a while,
Keep low.
especially in the high groove, we made up enough spots that I could see the front. And it gave me a little glimmer of hope, but then something would happen, we would lose all our momentum, and we would move backwards again.
Okay, Brian, the next car is Alan.
Keep to the bottom.
Apron.
Clear.
I don't even have to say it anymore. I know you guys are seeing that. I promise I'm not doing it on purpose, but I am trying to get down pretty low. Because I see all this movement. I mean, like Kofoid in front of us. Now remember, part of that is based on their ratings and how they drive the car. You can make them drive a car that's loose or drive one that's tight.
Outside.
You can do that in the ratings.
Still there.
Now, off the top of my head, I can't remember everybody's ratings for things like smoothness and all that. So I don't know if that's where Kofoid is, if he's driving a very loose
Outside. Still there.
truck. It certainly makes sense given his background.
Clear outside.
All right, so now we're crammed back in here 3x3 again. And we've got to be getting close to that 1 minute warning. So we should be narrowing in on that caution flag. I need to take a look and see what lap we're on.
Hold your line. Outside. Still
All
there.
right, let me take a glance here. 24:40. Okay, good. Don't remember how many laps we could run under green for fuel purposes. But we should be pitting for the caution clock well before that actually comes into play. At least I think so.
Still there. Clear outside.
All right, at this point I'm just riding. There's nowhere for me to go. And we're so close to the caution clock, there's no reason for me to even attempt to try to make passes, I don't think. And that's going to bring us to the second issue. And that is, where are we on pit road? We're now 15th instead of
Stay
last.
low.
I was benefiting from the fact earlier
Keep low.
in the previous races from the fact that we were simply the first pit stall. So that helped me out some, quite a bit actually. But now we're going to be right in the middle of the field. So hopefully I don't miss our pit stall. I've almost given up on trying to find the lollipop as we're coming in, because I don't see it until it's way too late for me to start making preparations to pit. I'm going to have to listen to what the spotter's telling me about, you know, things like 5, 4, 3, and so on. You'll hear him say that. That's really all I have to go on. And that's not really all that accurate.
Keep low.
But it at least gives me some idea of where we are, and hopefully will keep me from missing our pits.
Stay low. 3 wide. You're on the bottom.
All right, still haven't seen that 1 minute
Got one
warning.
outside. Still there.
Hopefully I just missed it. Because it should be about time for that.
Outside. Keep to the bottom. Still there.
Wow, look at that middle lane. I didn't see who that was. Was that 15? Was that Gray? Just jumped in there and
Okay,
made up
Brian,
a
that's
bunch
good
of stuff.
consistency.
Still there.
Keep it up. B21.
Clear. Outside. Keep low.
This is definitely one of those situations where, thinking about more toward the end of the race, Like, I can't just jump out and switch lanes like they can because I just can't see enough, and the spotter is not telling me enough information.
Outside.
So I just don't know. I don't know enough for me to be swapping lanes like that. I could just be simply running over another truck who's already there. I have no idea where anybody else is. This is where it definitely feels like I have the blinders on. I'm a horse with blinders on.
Clear. Got one outside. Still there. Clear outside.
Alright, are we about to make a green flag pit stop? Do I need to check and see how much fuel we got in this thing? It sounds like I might need to. Because I saw the 10-minute warning, I saw the 5-minute warning. And maybe my brain is just sped up a little bit with it being my first time at Daytona and doing the restrictor plate in VR. Maybe that's what it is. I hope that's what it is. Because I haven't seen the 1-minute warning. And obviously, during this race, I have had no opportunity to do anything with the caution clock.
Keep to the bottom, clear outside.
And again, for those of you who might be new to this series and unfamiliar with the caution clock and how that's working, I start all that and set it up before I start recording. So before the race starts. So
20th place.
It could very easily be, in fact I'm hoping it is, that you guys are seeing the caution clock in the top right hand corner, and keep in mind, I cannot see that. Whether it's on, working, not working, I have no idea during the race.
Stay on the bottom. Keep to the bottom.
Alright, so far I would have to say that I need more skill spread here.
Stay on the bottom.
I think particularly on the bottom end. Not a whole lot of room on the top end, but the bottom end for sure, to try to spread things out a little bit, because right now there's just nowhere to go. I mean, I can pick a lane and, you know, move back and forth from between, you know, somewhere around last to maybe around 15th, maybe a little bit better than that, depending on which lane and how much momentum. But there's really nowhere for me to go. Oh, I felt like we got a bump from behind. That's what that felt like. And then I got down on the apron. Hopefully that's not the case.
Stay low.
Right now I'm sort of thinking that I need to figure out how much fuel we got. So let's go ahead and bring that up.
Outside. Still there. Keep low.
Alright, we got about 5 laps left
Keep to the bottom.
of fuel.
Keep low.
Because I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that, oh wait a minute, we got a slower truck. This is not going to be fun.
Outside. Still there.
Alright, get out of the gas. Everybody chill out.
Outside. We're almost out of fuel, but it looks like we'll make it to the end. Still there. That car's a lap down.
Does it look like we're going to make it to the end?
Okay, Brian, you've got about 4 laps of fuel left.
Alright, he's saying about 4 laps. We need 8 to 9. I'm not sure how we're going to make that, unless even if I go half throttle around here, I still don't see us making it. I don't see how we could. And of course, who knows exactly how much we've got. We might have enough to make it. It looks like Jordan Anderson was the one who was losing a lap.
Clear.
All right, now, does that spread things out? Do the AI pit under green? Because at this point, I've got to assume that something happened to the caution clock and it's just gone.
P19, you've got about 3 laps of fuel left.
Yeah, we're going to have to come in here at the very end of this race. Now, granted, when I chose the number of laps for this race, having to pit under green was not the consideration. But also, I fully recognize that if these guys come into pit and I don't know it, then it's just going to be complete and utter chaos. It's going to be a huge wreck is what's going to happen. So that's making me think maybe I don't want to be in this bottom lane. So there's a lot going through my head right now. All right, I see a few pulling off to pit, or, well, I say a few. Was it just one?
Leader pitting now.
Yeah, it was just host of them. Okay.
18th. Only 2 laps of fuel left.
All right, 2 laps of fuel. We're definitely coming in. I can't imagine we're going to make it. I'm sort of trying to feather it here. I am not running full throttle. Up here on the high side, I'm looking for more messages. All right, let's go back. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, I see some more people pitting now. It says estimated 2.2 laps. Still trying to figure out if I can make that work. All right, here they come.
Running low on fuel. We should be able to make it to the end. Stay high.
But I keep hearing...
You've got 1 gallon left.
Yeah, 1 gallon left for 6 laps. Don't see it.
P19. This is the last lap of fuel.
All right, so... have we even gotten to half of the AI pitting yet?
This lap, please, Brian.
Okay, you heard the man. Now, where do I need to start? Lifting, braking? Don't know. Didn't practice any of that. And the reason I didn't is specifically because I want it to be chaos when it happens. I don't want to practice it a whole bunch and be really good at it and all that. I like the fact that we're going to have to figure this out. Okay, I'm going to try to back out of this a little early.
Half a gallon of fuel remaining.
All right, 60 is where we need to get down to.
Pit lane speed limit is 60 miles per hour. Okay, we'll fill you to the end. On exit, we should be in position 22, just behind P18.
Where are we?
1.
Where are we?
Right here.
Oh, here we are. Holy cow, he told me 1 way back there. No wonder I was lost. NASCAR's got to be looking at me thinking, what on earth is he doing?
That's it, go.
Well, this is going to be another interesting race finish. All right, do we get a...
The pit exit looks
do
clear.
we get a flag for pit entry? I know I was over at the first little bit,
Leader pitting now.
but then I went under the speed limit, hoping that I could sort of make up for that a
Come
little
on,
bit.
Brian. Push, push, push. We can catch this car.
Because I don't think iRacing uses the sectors on pit road like they do in real life. Oh, look out. All right, who is behind me? All right, I think the leaders are coming up. They have not pitted yet. Based on the way it looks on my screen.
Gap to cell ahead is now 1.6 seconds.
Okay, here they come. It looks like everybody's going to pit. Just some were able to stretch it a few more
Down
laps.
Rhodes is pitting.
Now, I'm okay with
place.
that. I got zero problem with that. If that's how it's going to work out, I am 100% good with that.
Outside.
All right, let's see what we can do here. We got a couple of laps left.
Clear outside.
Ooh, clear outside, and we got a huge run here on these guys on the bottom. Not sure what they're doing, but we're going to try to make some passes here.
Still there.
These guys must still be trying to get up to
Down
speed.
the lead.
Clear. Got one inside. Stay right there.
Oh, my CPU is going nuts. All right, so I'm going to hang out on the outside right here. I'm not sure how much you guys are seeing of this,
Clear.
P12.
Inside. Go high.
but yeah, my CPU is not enjoying this. Whatever it is that's going on right
Stay right
now,
there.
my CPU hates it. So I'm just trying to stay out of the way for a few minutes, and hopefully this will work itself out. All right, where are we? We are, what, about 16th, 17th, something like that? Which is not too bad considering how I did pit entry. And pit road. Good gracious, I almost stopped in a pit stop that was about 5 too early. as my spotter was telling me 5, 4, 3, and I'm like, okay, good. Where they at? Where's it at? Turns out it was about 5 more.
P14, 2 laps left.
All right, 2 laps left. We're up here on the outside, and we have got momentum. This could turn out very good. And I mean very good. Meaning that we could end up with a finish that's much better than where we've been running today. As much as I hate to say it, I'm not sure. I would really like to know what caused my CPU to freak out there a lap or so ago, but it was rough. That was not fun. Now, I will say from the VR perspective, it didn't cause me any issues such as, you know, dizziness or any of the VR symptoms that you normally hear about. Okay, we should be in good shape here. That lap truck, that slower truck is on the bottom. Yeah, there we go. Our good buddy De Benedetto. That's how I'm going to continue to refer to him.
Smith is leading the race.
Oh, I couldn't get down. All right, where's my help behind? Where's my help behind? All right, last lap. No idea what position we're actually fighting for here, but I'm giving it everything I've got.
Keep it on top.
All right, come on, fellas. Push. Whoever's back there, push.
Almost out of fuel, but it looks like we'll make it to the end.
P5, there's the finish. Good drive.
All right. Okay, where do we finish? All right, let's just try to get out of this mess here and let everybody start to slow down. All right, wow. Okay, that's just everybody just suddenly hit the brake pedal. All right, where did we finish? Now that I think everybody is sort of giving everybody some room. 5th position. We got a top 5 to start the season. Now, it was not without its issues, but I'm going to have to say right now, I liked the green flag pit stops. Not because I did a good job with it, because I did not. But with whatever happened with the caution clock, and I'm going to assume it was the number of laps to go, that 20 to go rule that it has. I forgot about it. I did not think it was going to come into play. So assuming that's what it was, and now I just kind of want to see where my pit stall is. But I'm going to assume that's what did it.
Pit box in 5, 3.
The race is over.
2, 1.
All right, so see, he's telling me 2,
Right here.
1, and I see I'm up here. I'm way up here. Okay, anyway. So that's a separate issue. We'll figure out how to deal with that later. But as we come out, I'm going to go ahead and exit, and we're going to take a look at the standings. Now remember, we're in VR here, so everything's going to look a little different. But the reason I really liked that pitting under green is actually for a couple of reasons. Number one, that's just the flow of the race. There was no caution, so everybody's got to come into pit. But the other reason I liked it is there were multiple strategies there. Everybody eventually came into pit, but we pit over, what, a 4 or a 5 lap stretch there, instead of everybody trying to come in at the same time. So that was a lot of fun. So we ended up in the 5th position. Christian Eckes brings home the victory. Zane Smith, Crafton, and Jack Wood. Oh, well, great finish for Jack Wood there. And then behind us, Stuart Friesen, John Hunter, De Benedetto, Austin Wayne Self, who we saw in real trouble earlier in the race. He was just trying to find somewhere to wreck. And then finally, Lawless Allen. That'll round out the top 10, but a top 5 after we spent almost the entire race back here at the very back. Now, that's got me wondering, what happened with Ty Majeski? It seemed like he might have run out of fuel. And same thing probably with Chandler Smith. But a lot of differing strategies on when to pit there at the end of this race. I like it. It really mixed things up. We got to feel spread out there at the end. And overall, hey, I'll take it. That was a lot of fun for our first restrictor plate race in VR. And by the way, this shot looks really cool right here. We're up sort of on the same level as the flagman, who is going to town right now. Very cool overall. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did.